In the last occasion, we have been discussing about the Sabbasava Sutta. Actually, Sabbasava Sutta has 7 techniques. These techniques are supposed to control asava, a sort of defilement, which has to be overcome to attain Nibbana. Asavakka jnana is essential for anyone to attain Nibbana. Therefore, controlling asava is an essential part of Buddhist liberation. But on the other hand, these techniques can be used to control stresses as well. So our discussion at this time will be restricted to our stress control technique and managing our day-to-day life. But as these techniques are powerful enough to cause liberation, we have to keep in mind the relationship between the stress control method and the path of attaining Nibbana. Therefore, we will show some similarities as and when required. One of the other important things to be noted is that asava, a Buddhist concept, has a somewhat close relationship to emotion in the Western terminology. But they are not the same. Asava are stored in our mind and they will get activated when the environment is suitable for its activation. Emotions are the cause of emotions are stored in our body. So emotions are generated by the body. Although we know that emotion had arisen. So actually there are two different things. But on the other hand, if you look at the emotions have certain properties like anger, fear, sorrow, and emotional attachment. These things are somewhat related to what we call lobha and dosa. Fear, anger, and the sorrow are related to aversion or dosa, and attachment is related to lobha and kama. I think therefore most of the people will find they are the same, but it is not. We know bad karma cannot be originated without an intention. Lobha, dosa, moha are the roots that will generate bad karma. But emotions are not backed by a thought, conscious thought. Those are relations from the those are generated from the body. Of course, the reason of certain emotion arising can have origin coming from our genes, which have protected the continuation process of genes. Maybe for millions of years, it can be supplemented with the experience we get in this life. But emotions are generated through our body and they are not backed by conscious thoughts. But on the other hand, if you are not careful, after emotion, there is a good chance, high probability, that you are likely to generate the bad karma. As an example, emotion of anger can generate anger. Emotion of attachment can generate, it can stop with karma or it can go into lobha. So we have to be careful. When emotions arise, not to get into the point of generation of bad karma. Also themselves are not bad karma. They are defilements. But when the appropriate conditions are satisfied, also will create bad karma. Or also like karma may not necessarily generate bad karma, but it will block our progress towards Nibbana or even Brahma world to some extent. So asava is basically categorized into four: kamasava, bhavasava, dittasava and avidyasava. But our Sabbasava Sutta touches only three: kamasava, bhavasava and avidyasava. Of course, we are not going to speak about the higher part of it, but we have to understand that these techniques are addressing normal day-to-day life events, as well as they are powerful enough to drive us towards the Nibbana. We know Sabbasava Sutta has a 7 techniques. Out of them, Dasana Pahatabba directly speaks about attaining Sotapanna stage. It's clearly indicated 3 fetters, Sakkaya Ditthi Vichikicha and Silabbata Paramasa, will vanish with the Dasana Pahatabba technique. Having gone through very basic knowledge on asava and some comparison with our more familiar term emotion, it is interesting to know how does this techniques are arranged or addressed. Our motion control process. Actually, asava control process. Asava will become, asava will support, and bad karma will arise at a particular point of time. If you look at the events in a serial manner, there are certain things that can happen before the bad karma has arisen. There are certain things can happen at the time of rising the bad karma, and there are certain things that can happen or can cause the arising of the bad karma. So these techniques we can identify at which stage it is useful. So we are not going through the order of 7 techniques, but there is only one technique that addresses the controlling process applicable after rising the bad karma. Out of the 7 techniques, first one, Dasana Pahatabba, applies only once in lifetime. Somebody can say it will happen in 2 stages, so on marga and so on phala, but we lump it together. So it happens only once in life, once in not life, once in the whole samsaric cycle. Once it happens, 3 fetters are under control, but it will not eliminate the total asava. This is the beginning. It is powerful enough to control the occurring of more powerful sins, but it can't control all the sins. Even the so on persons are subjected to can do bad karma. Therefore, Dasana Pahatabba is a very powerful stage, but that can take place only once in a samsaric cycle. No more. Once the person becomes so on, that Dasana Pahatabba is over. Progress from there is necessary to eliminate the asava completely. That will take place only at the time of becoming an arhat. But on the other hand, if you look at Samvara Pahatabba, the second technique in the Sabbasava Sutta, is a very familiar technique we have been speaking about. Which is highlighted in our Samanya Phala Sutta. It is related to not creating symbols. We know, as we have discussed earlier, this Indriya Samvara Sila had been introduced in Samanapal Sutta even after the higher Sila that is applicable to monks. So we know we have six sense organs: eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Out of these six, five are in the body. Only mind is not in the body. So, symbol formation from our eye, ear, nose, tongue, and body will lead to secondary thought processes which are quite harmful, because planning process will take place, can take place only with these symbols. Therefore, as Buddha had instructed to Bahya, when you see, you have to stop there. I think result of this process will give you immense happiness. At this stage, you can control your stresses and be happy. But it's at a quite high stage. We have to remember. Tusita by name means you're happy. So, Samvara Pahatabba is a powerful method that can apply by a person who has who has been trained on the job, trained on the activity of doing that. But it's not permanent, not like Darsana Pahatabba. It's reversible. So if we can learn how to apply Darsana Pahatabba at a particular time, then it is so powerful that stresses may not arise during the period of applying Samvara Pahatabba, sorry, not Darsana Pahatabba. You will not have stresses, because Tusita mental stage is behind it. But do not get confused. It's not attainment. It's an activity that will reflect you, that will restrict you to Kama stage. Because Kama will arise. Happiness you get it is a Kama driven happiness. It's not a sin, but it is another type of asava that will result. If you look at Patisevana Pahatabba, it has actually two types of sub processes. We know monks will require four types of things: things to eat, things to drink, and clothes, wearing clothes, as well as place to sleep or reside. So we have to be little careful about this. These four comes from two groups. Drinking and eating are important. While you drink or eat something, that will change your body. Those external things will become internal after that. But if you use a robe or cloth, or if you use a bed, they don't become internal. They remain outside. So actually, these two are related to the two Mara worlds. Activity of eating and drinking will, activity of drinking and eating are actions which are covered under the Sampajana meditation. But on the other hand, having robes or clothes and having a house or some external object under your control is just holding, no activity. This comes under the basically Paranivritta Vasavarti stage. So if you look at very briefly, while Tusita stage is addressed to Samvara Pahatabba, our next stage, Patisevana Pahatabba, covers the two types of Mara worlds, Nirmanarati type of attachment, as well as the Paranivritta Vasavarti level of attachment. We'll stop there because this topic we are speaking about, Sabbasava Sutta, will require lengthy discussions. So we'll stop here.